From Southern California, this is The Circle of Insight, a show about everything in psychology. Hear the latest in news and views on psychology. Our motto is simple: wherever there is psychology involved, we are there. And now, here's your host of The Circle of Insight, Carlos Vasquez.
Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. We have a wonderful show. Today we're going to be discussing, how does ISIS operate? Some people say ISIS operates like a large corporation. It actually has a hierarchy and specialized people or personnel that work in certain departments. So we're going to explore that more with our very special guest, Dr. Mohammad Amirkhizi. Thank you very much, Dr. Mohammad, for coming aboard.
Pleasure.
He was the former director at the UN Office on Drugs and Crime in Afghanistan. So the first question for today's show is going to be, how does ISIS operate? Because it seems that ISIS operates almost like a corporation.
I like to look at the group as an organized criminal group. They are not a country. They are not a government. They are not a regular army that countries have. It's not like when a country is occupied, then people who are defending their borders can fight against the occupiers. These people are all foreign militias. They are there for the thrill of it, for whatever ideological reasons that they can find for themselves. They are there to do whatever they can. I mean, it's free-for-all organization. They are brutal. They rule by fear. They are very sophisticated in use of social media to spread their barbaric behavior. And
you were saying they actually have specialists.
They have specialists
for technology.
Who are spreading. They are trying to show something that they are not. They are not.
What are they trying to show they're not?
They are not a strong army. They are not organized army. They are not army. They are not people defending their country. They are organized criminals. They are trying to show that they are brutal. They do not take prisoners. They just kill everyone. So people would be scared and leave and would not fight against them. This is how they rule, by fear. And to do that, they need specialists. They have press people. They have specialists.
PR person?
They have PR people.
Wow.
They are specialized in what material to give to different audiences. And they have technological, advanced people.
Now, I know we've talked about this in the previous show where you said they made several billions of dollars over 3 months.
It was estimated that in 6 months they made $2 billion.
$2 billion.
Yes.
So that makes me think they must have like an accounting department as well.
They should have. I mean, now they have oil refineries under occupation. They are selling oil, actually.
They're selling oil.
They are selling the oil in Syria and Iraq, in the areas that they have occupied. So they are selling the oil and making money. And in the cities that they occupied, they looted the banks. So they got all the cash and the gold from there. They looted all the army posts. So they took all the Humvees and guns and whatever they could find, even if they can't use it, they just took it. And so if they can use it, they use it. If they can't, they sell it. So they go to different cities. They even confiscate the meal. I mean, they occupy and they sell the wheat, which people need, to them.
To the people?
Yeah, because they've occupied the cities.
Are you familiar with how the cities that they're occupying, how are they functioning? Are they just letting people do their own business every day and they collect a certain fee? Are you aware of that?
It is not functioning normally. It is now everything under their rule. Whatever they say, it happens. And if they are against something, that's it. They are They put the judges, they are the police, they are the judges, they are the prosecutors, and they are the government.
They're the whole, everything.
They have the so people flee. Most of the people flee from those areas, but some people cannot, and they take hostages that they know people would pay ransom for.
That was another question.
Yeah.
What kind of they seem to have multiple streams of income.
Of course.
One of them is going to be what you just mentioned, hostage taking.
Hostage taking, getting ransoms, extortions,
Selling weapons.
selling weapons that they can. I mean, they use the weapons that they got from the army barracks in Syria and Iraq. If they can use it in their fight, they do it. But many of them are sophisticated. What are they going to do with the planes and the helicopters that they were in the bases? So they sell some of them if they cannot use it. So they are getting income from all over.
What about drugs?
I have not seen any reports on the issue, but because Iraq does not grow drugs. I mean, the drugs has to be exported to Iraq.
Okay.
And I don't think that there is a very lucrative market at this time in Iraq.
So it's not like Afghanistan.
No, this is totally different unless the news comes out that they are exporting or they are transiting drugs through their territories to Europe. That I haven't heard of anything about it. But in addition to all of that, they get a lot of money from rich Sunni Arab in the region
They
and
take them
beyond.
hostage.
No.
Oh, no.
They get they get the money. They collect money. You see, before that, when they started their operations, it was when Saddam Hussein left, and in 2003, when the U.S. and coalition went to Iraq, Saddam left, and these al-Baghdadi created its own group fighting the coalition groups in 2004.
Okay.
So what happened is that many of these Sunnis in the region, who are rich people, they wanted Baghdadi to succeed and give more power to Sunnis because they lost it. So money would come from all these people to al-Baghdadi. And in 2010, when the US almost defeated them, they were kept alive by the money from Saudi Arabia and Qatar and Turkey, and they moved to Syria, and they were kept alive with these money.
And kept alive, meaning ISIS was kept alive.
Yes,
Yeah.
by these
ISIL.
people, ISIL, by these people, and the money came from abroad. These are donations. So in 2004, with the pressure that the US put on Saudi Arabia and Qatar and Turkey to stop this flow of money from their countries to ISIL, what it has made it difficult now for them to do it through bank transactions. But still, their people, they collect money physically in the mosques.
In the mosque?
In the mosques in Saudi Arabia, in other Arab countries, they have people who are physically collecting money from other Muslims
And then taking it to...
and taking it to ISIL. They are sending bank account information or and sending it through Viber or Twitter or other accounts. So it is not being transferred officially, but they know how to use other instruments of getting money from let's say, people who are in the business of supporting extremists. And they like to keep these people alive. They are their militias. They are their unofficial army. So destroying them completely would not be to the benefit of Saudi Arabia or Qatar, and they didn't do it. And in 2010, when they were totally destroyed in Iraq, they moved to Syria, and they were only kept alive with the money coming from these countries. And they kept it for this date, to get more power back in Iraq, politically and economically. So the point is, how we are going to make sure that they are destroyed this time. But the point, I mean...
And we'll get to that in part
yes,
3. It's
yeah.
a 3-part series. This is
Okay.
part 1. And I know we're excited to get rid of them fast. But we'll get to that.
Hi, welcome to Adelante. This is Adelante Recovery, and my name is Yvette Kuglin, and I'm part of the staff.
Adelante Recovery Center has helped people in dual diagnosis for 5 years. We accept most PPO insurances and provide luxury accommodations and 24-hour support. To speak with an admissions counselor, call 1-888-242-4450.
A lot of time we don't even know what's wrong with us, and sometimes we need to get away to figure that out. So if you want to go for a little retreat out in Corona Del Mar, which is a confidential location, we're here to help. So we're only a phone call away. Thank you.
On the operation, so we're seeing that they have a CEO, which we'll discuss more about Abu Bakr a little later. To find out what happened there. So I'm assuming he might be one of the CEOs of the company.
He's the CEO.
Of ISIL? Okay, he is the CEO of ISIL. And then you're going to have other little levels, as we talked about, the accountants and the PR people and the technology people. And how vast does this operation go? You've mentioned Saudi Arabia. You mentioned mosques in Syria. Does it pervade around the world, do you think? Does it go to Indonesia, where there are a lot of Muslims? Does it go around the world like that? Or is it just pretty much centralized in the Middle East?
I believe it's pretty much centralized in the Middle East. It is mostly funded. Their support comes from Sunni Arab countries in Middle East and North Africa. So that is all. Their people come from North Africa. More than 3,000 people came from Tunisia. Almost 3,000 people came from Saudi Arabia.
Wow. To join ISIL.
To join ISIL.
Wow.
The U.S. government estimates that there are more than 30,000 people among ISIL fighting in Iraq and Syria. And many of them, however, are people from old Saddam government and army. So people who are fighting in Iraq, they are not all foreigners. They have the Saddam army people, the remnants of Saddam government, and they have all joined ISIL for their own benefits, of course. But many of them, they come from abroad. There are not many people coming from other Muslim countries. You might find 1 or 2 people, but they are not numbered as they come from North Africa and Middle East.
How about the money? Is the money coming from any other of these places, you
the
think?
The money trail ends up mostly to Saudi Arabia and Qatar and Turkey. But it could come in a lesser amount from other neighboring countries and North Africa. But these are the countries who are rich, and they are pouring the money. The people on the fighter side, the whole Europe, including Turkey, they have 3,000 people among ISIL.
3,000. Wow.
From Turkey, Russia, Western Europe, Eastern Europe, 3,000.
Interesting. Now, on the military operations side, I'm not sure how familiar you are with their military operation, but do they function in some kind of organized system, do you think? Do you think they have soldiers, they have generals, they have commanders, just like every other army does?
Yes. Al-Baghdadi is on the top. And then there is a spokesperson for the organization.
Spokesperson.
Spokesperson.
ISIL spokesperson. All right.
And then there is his deputy, and then there are commanders. And some of these commanders are known, their names are out there. And these recruits, when they enter their territories to join ISIL, they have to be trained, and they are trained under these commanders.
Now, don't they have like an initiation process too? I heard there was a kind of a difficult initiation process they might have.
There are different ways. I have read of networks in North Africa that recruits these people out of mosques. They have actual people in these Muslim countries who they think that they could provide more soldiers to them. And they go to these mosques mostly in poor neighborhoods towards the disadvantaged. And they attract them and they send them to Turkey, and they enter ISIL through Turkey. They come to Syria and Iraq.
Interesting.
And some of them, they go to Libya and they are trained in these Libyan militias bases, and then they join ISIL. But they have actual people informally in many countries that they can provide these soldiers who go and try to attract people to join ISIL.
So they have recruiting force as
They
well.
have networks. They have networks with people active in that field.
So far it really is running like a corporation. You have a marketing department, you have a PR department, you have a technology department, an accounting department.
And
A
you have the
military.
military, you have the militias, the military section.
Wow.
And they all have one objective. The only thing is that to expand their rule.
And now, when they expand their rules, I know we discussed this a little bit in the last show. They're not expanding the rule, according to you, if I'm correct, when they're not doing it for the religious purpose. Are they doing it more for the power? Or are they doing it for the religious purpose? Or are they doing it for money?
In the surface, they call themselves caliphate. They call themselves a rule of Islamic societies. One person, one caliph, who's ruling the whole Muslim people. But this is only on the face, and it only attracts the disadvantaged and the people who are they fall for this, for these lies. The only thing they were started as militias for the political gain of others, and then at one point, these supporters like Saudi Arabia and Turkey, they were pushed by United States and international community to stop their behavior. So they saw it the right time to go for their own. So they have started this movement of trying to capture more lands, and they call themselves caliphate. They know no border. Their next target would be Jordan. There are some extremists in Jordan who would support this group and al-Baghdadi. There are now groups in Egypt. They call themselves the champions of Jerusalem. They have been created in Egypt, and they paid alliance to ISIL.
Are they really?
Yes, and so they will grow, but behind it, it's all power.
Really what they want is just
What
power.
they want is power. Now, once they get this power, we will know more what they actually want. But for now, they want power.
So the power is a means to an end, but we don't know what the end is yet.
At the end, of course, is more brutality and capturing more lands and
having the whole world under a caliphate.
Yes, and then having more funds, more money, getting more powerful. But for what?
That's the key question.
This is the key question. Who will benefit from them? And they started as militias for some other people political goal, but now they are going for themselves for now. How long? How long they can stay? So these are the issues. And the organization, we were talking about the issue, let me go back to the issue of organization. They are now fighting like a war. They are capturing these areas, and when the Iraqi armies are coming for them, of course they will be attacked by air and by ground. They will join cities. Then they would no longer have the airplanes or tanks or whatever to actually defend them, so they will go into the cities. So then at that time, the mode of their operation of their organization would change.
Let's capture that next time for sure. So they have different strategies then.
They have to. I mean, for now, they are acting like they have captured these areas and they have these armies. But what happens when these U.S. airstrikes are continued and the Iraqi army pushes them back and they lose all this heavy military hardware? They have to go inside the cities and join the people.
That's fascinating. We're going to have to tackle that next time for sure in part 2. Thank you very much, Dr. Amirkhizi, for coming out again. We appreciate it. We thank you for joining us as well. I hope you enjoy this exciting episode. Next one coming up in part 2, we're going to talk a little bit more about ISIS. What is their strategy? As Dr. Amirkhizi was pointing out, they have different sorts of strategies. We're going to find out a little bit more specific about some of the leaders, Abu Bakr in particular. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you next time, everyone.